The first rule of the Hellion frontier was simple. Humans stayed out of royal alien affairs. The second rule was even simpler. Don't get noticed. Jonah Hale did his best to follow both. He was a single dad, a mechanic on Station Rithus 4, and a man who wanted nothing more than a quiet life for his 8-year-old daughter Lyra. He fixed cooling arrays, patched hull panels, recalibrated power couplings, anything that paid enough to cover school fees and keep them from having to move again. He thought he had his life perfectly predictable, until the day a royal shuttle arrived in the docking bay he worked in. It was a sleek vessel of the Scifi Empire, a species known for towering height, luminous skin patterns, and an almost supernatural emotional sensitivity. Humans were considered too volatile, too unpredictable, too noisy for their refined ways. So when the royal shuttle landed and the station alarm blared, royal custody breach, unidentified minor on board, Jonah nearly fainted. Docking crews scattered. Security scrambled. Every species with common sense found a reason to be anywhere but there. Jonah? He was stuck beneath the shuttle's still warm thruster panel, wrench in hand, because he had been assigned to inspect the ship. Now he froze, trying very hard to not look like a threat. The hatch hissed open. A small figure tumbled out, about the size of his daughter. Soft lavender skin. Luminous freckles that flickered like bioluminescent stars. For delicate fingers clutching a torn silken cloak. She was crying. Loudly. Painfully. And every cry sent ripples of psychic emotion rolling across the bay like shockwaves. Workers clamped hands over their ears. A few fell to their knees. Scifi emotions were powerful enough to overwhelm weaker species. Jonah winced but didn't fall. He had, after all, raised an emotional 8-year-old human girl. His tolerance was battle-hardened. Before security could rush in, the alien girl locked eyes with him. And then she bolted straight into his arms. The middle, the only thing that calmed her. Hi, Jonah said, gently holding the trembling princess. He didn't know she was a princess yet. All he knew was that she was shaking so hard her glowing freckles flickered in distress. Do you have a name? He asked softly. She blinked up at him, tears shimmering silver. Virina, daughter of Queen Salira. I got lost. Jonah's heart nearly stopped. He was holding alien royalty. If this went bad, he'd be vaporized. Politely probably, but still vaporized. Security officers arrived, breathing through oxygen masks to blunt the psychic waves. Step away from the child, one shouted. Humans are prohibited from. But the girl latched onto Jonah harder. Please don't leave me. Her emotions hit like a tidal wave. Fear, dizziness, shame all tangled together. Jonah staggered, teeth clenched, but he didn't drop her. He spoke through the panic. It's okay. You're safe now. The security commander growled. Human, you are not authorized to. Do you want her screaming again? Jonah snapped. The officers paused. Good logic worked. Queen's daughter emotional meltdown? Nobody wanted that. The commander rubbed his temples. Fine. Calm her. Quickly. But Jonah had no idea how to calm an alien princess. Lyra, however, knew exactly what to do. His daughter had wheeled in on her small mag scooter, ignoring every terrified adult and stepping boldly next to her dad. Dad, she whispered, you always calm me down the same way. Use the bubbles. Jonah blinked. What? We've never used bubbles here. We have some in your toolbox, she said proudly. I packed them, just in case you got sad. Jonah stared at her. She had emergency sadness bubbles. This child was an angel. Okay, Jonah muttered. Virina? Want to see something magical? The princess hiccuped and nodded. Lyra dug into the toolbox and pulled out a tiny plastic wand and a small bottle with faded rainbow stickers. Jonah dipped the wand, inhaled, and gently blew. A shimmering stream of bubbles drifted into the air, catching the light of the docking bay, reflecting neon panels and soft glows like floating jewels. Virina gasped. Her freckles brightened. Her trembling eased. The psychic pressure in the room dropped as if someone had opened a vacuum seal. Jonah smiled and blew another. This time, a bubble drifted close to Virina's face. She leaned forward, fascinated, then tapped it gently with her four-fingered hand. Pop. She laughed. Not just laughed, sang. a sound like chiming glass mixed with soft bells. The entire bay relaxed at once. Jonah kept blowing bubbles. Big ones. Tiny ones. Ones that wobbled and shimmered. Virina's emotional waves softened into ripples of delight. Lyra giggled and started popping bubbles with her scooter lights. Security officers lowered their weapons. Workers peeked out from hiding. The entire docking bay watched a human single dad perform the most unexpected diplomatic miracle in station history. He soothed a panicking alien princess with a $1 bottle of children's bubbles. But the miracle wasn't over. Because someone else was watching. A towering figure had stepped silently into the docking bay. Her presence radiated power. Her luminous markings glowed in regal gold. Her crown floated weightlessly above her head. A ring of shimmering plasma. Queen Selira, ruler of the Zirathai, one of the most powerful beings in the quadrant. Jonah only noticed her when the entire room dropped into a bow. He froze mid-bubble. The princess turned, eyes lighting up. Mother! She scampered toward the queen. Then hesitated, glancing nervously back at Jonah before continuing. Queen Selira opened her arms and embraced her daughter tightly. My precious star. I felt your fear through the neural bond across half a galaxy. She knelt. Are you harmed? Virina shook her head. The human saved me. The queen's eyes, deep shimmering silver, shifted toward Jonah. His stomach dropped. He was dead. Absolutely dead. Selira strode toward him, aura blazing. Jonah resisted the urge to crouch behind his daughter. Human, she said, voice echoing. Explain. Jonah held up the bubble wand. Blue bubbles? Silence. Then, Queen Selira exhaled, expression softening. No Zirathai healer, empath, or emotional stabilizer has ever calmed my daughter's surges this quickly. She studied him carefully. Your species is not known for its emotional regulation. Yeah, Jonah admitted. We're really not. But you shielded yourself and her through the intensity of her fear. The queen tilted her head. How? Jonah shrugged. I'm a single dad. I've handled tantrums that could flatten a small city. Lyra proudly saluted beside him. Selira's lips curved upward. I see. She turned to one of her advisors. Summon the royal entourage. Prepare hospitality arrangements. The human and his daughter will accompany us. Wait, Jonah sputtered. Us? Where? To the royal cruiser, Selira said matter-of-factly. My daughter has bonded with you emotionally. It cannot be undone yet. If she separates now, her psychic imbalance could return. Jonah paled. Are you saying, I'm stuck with you? The queen raised one elegant brow. You say this as if it is a punishment. The journey, a human family aboard an alien royal ship. Jonah had seen a lot of things in his life, star freighters, derelict warships, even a comet field from too close. But nothing compared to the interior of the Zirathai royal vessel. Living vines intertwined with glowing conduits. Crystalline structures hummed softly with psychic resonance. Every step felt like walking inside a living organism shaped into a palace. Lyra was thrilled. Jonah was terrified. Virina refused to leave their side. Her small lavender hand gripping Lyra's the way distressed children clung to teddy bears. Queen Selira observed closely. Her advisors whispered among themselves. Humans cannot bond with Zirathai. Her emotional patterns are synchronizing with his daughter. The queen will need to intervene. But Selira simply watched Jonah. He wasn't majestic. He wasn't powerful. He wasn't psychic. He was just human. And yet he treated Virina like he treated Lyra. With patience, gentleness, and humor. When she grew anxious at the brightness of the crystal halls, Jonah dimmed them manually. When she panicked at the sound of alien instruments, he hummed a simple earth lullaby until she relaxed. When she got overwhelmed by complex royal protocols, Lyra grabbed her hand and whispered, We'll do it together. To everyone's shock, including the queen, Virina's emotional stability continued improving. But there was one moment that changed everything. The tear storm. On the third night aboard the cruiser, a sudden psychic pulse ripped through the ship. Jonah jolted awake. Lyra gasped, clutching her chest. Virina was in the next room. But her emotions felt like they were shaking the walls. They ran. The princess sat curled on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably, glowing markings flickering dangerously. Energy crackled around her. The air hummed with unstable vibration. Jonah knelt. Virina. Hey, I'm here. I had a nightmare, she wailed. In it, I was lost again. And no one found me this time. Her psychic surge intensified. Alarms blared. Guards attempted to approach, only to be hurled back by shockwaves of raw emotion. Everyone stay back. Jonah shouted. You're making her worse. The queen arrived, face tight with worry. She is entering a tear storm. An emotional overload. Dangerous even for us. Is she going to be okay? Lyra whispered. Not unless someone can stabilize her, Queen Salira said grimly. Her emotional frequency is too volatile. Jonah looked at the trembling alien child. He didn't see an alien princess. He saw a scared little girl. He bent down, picked her up despite the psychic force pushing against him, and whispered, Virina, can we do our bubble magic again? Her eyes fluttered open, shimmering. Jonah pulled the bubble bottle from his pocket. Lyra insisted he keep it on him at all times now. He dipped the wand. A tremor shook the ship. He blew. A single bubble floated up, wobbling, shimmering with the energy in the room. Virina stared at it, her emotions slowing just slightly. He blew another. And another. Soon dozens of bubbles drifted around them, catching the panic-lit glow of the room and scattering it into tiny flecks of soft light. Lyra sat next to Virina, gently popping bubbles and giggling. It's okay, she whispered. Nightmares can't hurt you. Dad always tells me that. Virina's breathing slowed. The psychic storm weakened. Her glowing freckles steadied into a soft shimmer. Jonah cradled her until she finally fell asleep. Queen Salira watched, astonished. You shielded her from a full tear storm, she whispered. Even her own species struggles with that. Jonah shrugged, exhausted. Kids are kids. They just need someone to sit with them until the fear passes. The queen stared at him for a long time. Then she said something no one expected. Human, perhaps you were not brought to my daughter by accident. Ending the queen's decision. By the time they returned to Station Rythus 4, the rumor had spread across 3 galaxies. A human single father had succeeded where royal healers could not. When the cruiser docked again, the queen requested a private conversation with Jonah and Lyra. They met in the shimmering throne chamber aboard the ship, though Salira had reduced its size to avoid overwhelming them. My daughter has formed a deep emotional bond with your family, the queen said. I had hoped it would fade, but instead it has grown stronger. Jonah swallowed. I understand if you need to break it. The queen looked genuinely offended. We do not sever bonds that help our children flourish. She approached him slowly. I want to offer you something unprecedented. Jonah blinked. What? Salira turned to Virina, who hugged Lyra tightly. My daughter needs stability. She needs someone who can anchor her emotions and teach her courage. Her silver eyes softened. You, Jonah Hale, have done more for her than any Zerathai guardian has in years. Jonah's throat tightened. I didn't do anything special. You gave her kindness, the queen said. And that is rarer than power. She placed a radiant hand over her heart. I ask that you with your daughter become part of her life. Officially. Not as servants. Not as subjects. She paused. But as family friends and companions she can trust. Jonah was speechless. Lyra, however, squeaked. Does that mean Virina can come over for sleepovers? Queen Salira considered it gravely. Yes. With proper royal supervision. Virina jumped, clapping her hands. I want to visit the bubble room. We don't have a bubble room, Jonah said. You do now, Lyra whispered fiercely at him. Queen Salira extended her hand. Human Jonah, will you accept this role? He took a deep breath. Then smiled. We'd be honored. Salira's expression softened into something warm, proud, almost maternal. Then it is done, she declared. From this moment my daughter will know she is safe, not because she is royal, but because she is loved. Virina ran to Jonah and hugged him. Lyra joined, forming a small tangle of human and alien limbs. The queen watched them with glowing eyes. For the first time in centuries, she allowed herself a small, genuine smile. Epilogue, Bubbles and Stars. Months later, Station Rythus 4 had something entirely new. A bubble garden, personally commissioned by Queen Salira, with shimmering zero-gravity chambers that made bubbles drift like nebulae. Virena visited weekly. Lyra became her first human friend. Jonah still fixed machines, just now with the occasional alien royal bodyguard watching. Every time the princess grew overwhelmed, Jonah would simply lift the wand and blow bubbles until the galaxy felt safe again. And the queen herself, whenever she visited, would watch the scene from a quiet corner. A human father, a glowing princess, 2 children laughing in a swirl of floating light. And she would remember the day she witnessed something more powerful than any psychic surge or royal decree, the gentle, world-changing power of a single dad blowing bubbles.